I hope you've been inspired and moved by what you've heard, as I have been. As you can see, we are strong because we have so many people willing to partner with us. And we invite you all to partner with us. We invite you to join us as ACLU members. You'll find membership information at your tables. We also invite you, if you're so inspired, to make a contribution to the ACLU. You know, if you plan to make a contribution and you think, well, I'll get to it when I get back to the office, it might not happen. So why don't you make sure to do it here now? And we'll make it really easy for you. You can give it to one of our staff members on the way out. And there are other ways to be involved and to partner with us. So while you're discreetly checking your smartphones for emails, you know, as you're typing under the table, check us out on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Just type in ACLU of Southern California and you'll find us all over the web. We need partners in every way possible. So give of your time, give of your energy, give of your financial resources, whatever you can. The more partners we have, obviously, the stronger we can be. Now it's my real honor to present our Lifetime Advocate for Justice Award. And it's particularly special that it's happening today. Henry Waxman has been a congressman since 1975, and he's been a staunch ally of liberty, justice, and equality for his entire life. His remarkable record in support of the Bill of Rights and of Californians and Americans' health and safety and freedom includes the Clean Air Act, the Ryan White Care Act, the Orphan Drug Act, food labeling laws, and health care reform. He is such a progressive advocate that House conservatives have tried for years, if not decades, to redistrict him out of office. They never succeeded, thankfully. Nevertheless, as you know, he has announced his retirement at the end of his current term. Congressman Waxman has always been a tenacious fighter and an effective one. He is, has been, and always will be an advocate for justice, and the ACLU of Southern California is pleased to present him with this award, particularly as today is Henry Waxman Day in Los Angeles. So please join me in welcoming the Honorable Henry A. Waxman.
Well, thank you very much for this honor. This is Henry Waxman Day in Los Angeles because government does do some things right. I was bestowed that honor by the City Council this morning, and of course they had to pick Friday the 13th. I thank Hector Villaraga for this award, and I want to thank all of you for the work you're doing and the support you're giving for the ACLU. This is an organization for whom I have the enormous regard. I've always looked at the ACLU as a staunch ally. From whatever I was fighting for in Washington, I knew that the ACLU cared about the same issues. And it's the ACLU you won in the trenches, whether the issue is the woman's right to make decisions on her reproduction, or for workers' rights to organize, or everyone's right to vote, to love and marry who we want, and to speak without fear of censorship, and to worship or not, as we personally decide. Well, we look back, it was almost 100 years ago that the ACLU was organized, and it was organized initially to champion the rights of individuals persecuted for their personal political beliefs. And since that time, The ACLU has championed the rights of all Americans to live free from injustice and discrimination. The ACLU, as you could just tell from the awards given today, is fighting for justice and personal freedom on many different fronts. When I held my first hearing as the chairman of the Health and Environment Subcommittee, after we heard about a new disease, later designated AIDS and HIV, we held this hearing here in Los Angeles at the Gay and Lesbian Service Center, and we were trying to figure out what's happening with this disease. We didn't know why it was multiplying as quickly as it was. But the fight quickly morphed into a fight not just against a disease, but against the victims, against those who were facing appalling discrimination, so appalling that we had members of Congress argue that what we needed to do was get the names of everybody who had this disease so that we could quarantine them somewhere on some island to get them away from all of us. Well, the ACLU is needed, not just for our right to speak, but because ignorance and fear drive reason and common sense away, and because purveyors of deception and disinformation have to be confronted. Over the years, Congress worked on a number of areas. I put out a report of 20 different areas that the George W. Bush administration distorted the science or suppressed the scientific findings, whether it was from oil and gas exploration to abortion services to stem cell research. They manipulated the science to try to get their ideological and political point of view across. And today, these same Republicans who are in power in the House of Representatives, virtually an entire Republican party in the House, denies the clear science behind climate change. Well, we're always going to need an ACLU because we have to prevent the misuse of scientific advancements. We have to fight back against those who would try to distort information and to deny people justice. Now, we look at scientific achievements that they were trying to suppress, but now they're trying to even ignore scientific advances that infringe on our personal freedom. We're living in an exciting time. There are a lot of innovations, new technologies. They're changing in our lifetime, but technology has outpaced the laws that protect our individual privacy and save us from unwarranted government intrusion. Constitutional rights and national security are not either-or propositions. They go together. They can coexist, and they should not be allowed to succumb to fear. Power is an enormous thing. And the worst thing about power is its abuse. I look at my colleagues at times, and all they need to do is restrain themselves, to recognize that they have power to do things, but because you have the power to do some things doesn't mean you should do them. And this technology has allowed a lot of intrusion into our personal privacy to the point where we are learning that our own government has taken the technology to the point where they are the ones abusing that power. Another issue I just want to mention because it's one I'm so very involved in, and that's the question of net neutrality. Net neutrality means that there should be no discrimination what you can read or have access to on the net, on the internet. The internet promotes citizen engagement. It strengthens our democracy. And what we need to do is to be sure that we don't let for-profit motives somebody be put in a position to make money by denying who they don't want to be able to be communicating on the internet, first of all, because they didn't pay enough money, which discriminates in and of itself. But once you have the power to discriminate based on the economics of it, well, then it's not very far to the point where you say, let's discriminate on the content of the information, where so many people learn what's going on around them. Well, I thank you for this award, and I'm pleased it's called a Lifetime Achievement Award, but I want to tell you that my life is not over. I am going to be leaving Congress. Before I ever got to Congress, I volunteered as an ACLU lawyer to defend people who were at a demonstration against the war in Vietnam that I personally attended. And while there were so many people being convicted unfairly and unjustly for their rights to communicate their point of view, my client at least was not convicted. He wasn't found innocent, but they didn't refile the charges against him. I value this award, and whenever I get an award, I always think to myself, this is to thank me for what I've done in the past, but it's also to remind me that you want me there in the future. I will be with you. I may not be in Congress, but I will be with you fighting these fights, because these are the important fights for a just and decent society. Thank you so much.